Hi everyone, it's Katie from Paradise Falls family. In this video we'll be going into a bit more detail on our day ashore at Nassau on our cruise on the Disney Wish in April 2023. We've covered the rest of our cruise in separate vlogs which you can find in our Florida 2023 playlist on this channel. Our day on Nassau was the first of our 3 full days aboard the ship. I'll start off with a brief overview of the island for those of you who haven't visited yet, before talking through our time on the island and finally giving some tips and information that will hopefully help you make the most of your day here. So to start off with some background, Nassau is the capital and one of 16 main islands which make up the Bahamas. It's a massive cruise and holiday destination, so there's lots to see and do when you're ashore. To give you an idea of the size of the island, it takes just over 30 minutes to drive from the cruise terminal to the other end of the island, so it's very easy to explore in a day. For the purposes of this vlog, we've broken down the island into 3 main areas. On this map, red is Paradise Island, blue is downtown Nassau, and green is the rest of mainland Nassau. For our day ashore, we decided to spend our time in downtown Nassau, and I'll talk you through that in a moment. I think it's fair to say most visitors to Nassau focus on Paradise Island. This is where you'll find the bulk of the big resorts, some wonderful beaches including Cabbage Beach, which is supposed to be one of the best in the world, and of course the renowned Atlantis Resort with its famous Aquaventure water park. It's possible to buy a day pass for the resort and water park, which is something we seriously considered, but it's quite expensive for just a day. You can also get on a water taxi over to the island just to explore the area yourself. However, given Atlantis is really high on our wish list to stay, we decided to leave it at this time as we hope to return one day and stay here to be able to explore it properly. Outside of downtown Nassau, there are some sites to explore further afield on the island. You've got Fort Charlotte, a little outside of downtown, and then further along the coast, you've got some wonderful beaches, with Cable Beach being a highlight near the Sandals Resort here. It's possible to rent a car if you want to head out on your own, or there are loads of island excursions available if this is something that interests you. So focusing now on downtown, as this is where we decided to spend our time, given we decided against Paradise Island. Downtown is very walkable and you can see all of the main sites on foot if you want. We felt really safe the entire time, but of course you always need to read up on the local advice beforehand and know when and where to avoid. For example, we were warned beforehand to watch out for people trying to sell and hand you stuff at the port. So if you don't want to engage, just carry on straight through, and we had no problems at all. As you can see though, we didn't have the best weather for our trip here, so maybe the rain meant that this area was less busy than normal. Walking out of the port, downtown is right there with loads of shops, restaurants and bars to meet your every need. There's also horse-drawn surrey rides available, offering tours of downtown. These last around 20 to 25 minutes, they seat 3 per carriage and cost around $10 per adult and $5 per child if that's something that interests you. We disembarked the ship at around 11 AM, having docked earlier that morning. We could have gone ashore from around 9:30 but had decided to have a leisurely breakfast and spent some time on board doing a few activities on the ship before venturing out. The weather, it's fair to say, wasn't great again. Pretty windy, and although the rain had eased off, it was still pretty wet. We wanted to try and make the most of our day though, so we decided to make the walk up to Fort Fincastle. This is an old fort and landmark with views across the island that Finley was really keen on visiting with the obvious connection to his name. It was an easy 15-minute walk from the port, up East Street, although some of the streets here don't have pavements, or sidewalks as you may call them, so you do have to be a little careful in places. It's possible to tour the fort for a small fee, and then there's a museum and a cafe at the top. We didn't spend too long at the top with the weather being a bit iffy, but we enjoyed the views, took some great pictures, and it was really nice to have a look around. On the way back down, there was a stand selling fresh coconuts for $5, so we took the opportunity to give this a try, which was a really cool experience that we all enjoyed. Halfway down the hill is also the entrance to the Queen's Staircase, another local landmark that we had fun looking around and walking down. Wandering back into town, we did a bit of shopping in all of the usual souvenir shops for the kids, getting a few bits and pieces and our obligatory Christmas decoration. We then headed for the Pirates of Nassau Museum, which was our main stop for the day in downtown. This was just $14 per adult or $7 per child, and it was a fun little museum. We probably spent around an hour here, so it's pretty small, but it had a fun replica pirate ship to walk around and some cool exhibits on pirates and pirate life that we all enjoyed. There are various excursions that stop here, but it was really easy to visit on our own, and we saved so much money doing it this way as well. Our plan next was to get some lunch and spend the afternoon at the local Junkanoo Beach, which was just another 5 to 10 minutes walk away. However, the weather hadn't improved and we were all already soaked through, and we just weren't in the mood for sitting on a beach wet and cold, so we decided to cut our day in Nassau short and head back to the ship. We were disappointed as we'd planned to have a lovely sunny beach afternoon, maybe sipping on some sky juice, which apparently is a local favourite of gin and coconut milk, but it just wasn't to be. On the way back, we did some more shopping, enjoying the atmosphere on Bay Street and seeing the waterfront, passing through Pompey Square and by the famous straw market, and then we were back on board by around 1:30, in time to save a bit of money by eating our lunch on board the ship. Although our day didn't quite go to plan, we always have loads of fun exploring a new place together and seeing some of the local sights and the town, so we'd really recommend just hopping off the ship to have a look around. You can see here on this map the places we took in over just a few hours in downtown. There are a few places in town we'd have also liked to have stopped by, Government House, Parliament Square, etc, but hopefully we'll be back one day and can spend a bit more time exploring, hopefully next time in the sun. Outside of just exploring the island yourself, there are loads of other excursions and things you can do while docked in Nassau. Of course, Disney themselves offer a wide range of excursions. These include Aquaventure on Paradise Island, including some options where you can swim with the dolphins, various island tours taking in the sights of Nassau that I've already mentioned, and some a little further afield that look pretty cool as well. There are loads of tours to pick from, but two that took our interest were trips to a couple of the islands just past Paradise Island, Blue Lagoon and Pearl Island. Both excursions include transport to and from the islands, plus various other add-ons including lunch, animal encounters and water sports. Both look a great way to spend a day in the Bahamas. We decided against these beach days in the end, as we thought they would be quite similar to Castaway Cay, and we wanted to see some of Nassau itself, but they're worth looking into if that's the type of thing you fancy. On top of this, there are various other excursions, including catamaran cruises, a pirate ship adventure, fishing, and even a submarine. These are all listed on the Disney Cruise Line website, or alternatively, if you want to book an excursion yourself, our favourite operator is Viator.com. It's who we tend to book things through when we're travelling. Doing it this way is almost always cheaper than doing it through the cruise line themselves. We've included a link below in the comments. One point to note though, it's always worth remembering that cruise ships won't wait for you if you're late back to the port. Therefore, if you're planning to venture a little further on your own, then make sure you're back in plenty of time to make that all-important all-aboard time. So that's hopefully given you a pretty good overview of Nassau and how to make the most of your day there. This also wraps up our vlogs covering our cruise, but next week we're looking at our time in Disney's Vero Beach Resort, which is where we stayed after our cruise, so make sure to subscribe to support the channel and follow along. In the meantime, if you've got any questions or any other tips, then please let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching.